So I'm going to say hi to everybody online there. Um, Margie, good to see you, and Renee, good to see you too. I'm just going to review then for a moment our practice on mother and child luminosity. This is we can make this very complicated stuff. And I try not to do that because the concepts will not serve you at all, though they might add just a little flesh to the bone. What I think would be more valuable is the practice. So we're going to devote more time to that today. And I will review both. And then we're going to practice today simply resting in the ground of luminosity. Awareness itself, requiring no object. Technically, according to some, like B. Alan Wallace, he's a great Tibetan scholar. He's a very lovely Caucasian guy. He says, we're not that sure that mind requires a brain right now. Yeah, we know that as we experience it in this human form, there is some usefulness to have a brain for this, but not confident that one requires the other. That's interesting, right? I don't want to say more about it because I don't know that much more about it. There's a lot of debates in quantum physics and mechanics about this. I'm not that smart. What I do know, though, from my own practice, and we'll focus on your practice today, is that there is the capacity of mind to know itself. That's a little interesting. That mind is not only a processes, but can simply be an object. Awareness itself as an object, resting in awareness, right? Objects coming and going, doing what they do. And from that Dzogchen tradition that I named, which is of the highest depth of understanding, they are very certain that breath awareness practice is conducive and a beautiful beginning, but will not get you there. Why? Well, we get a little attached to the breath, don't we? We hang on to objects. And then we never, that's child luminosity, knowing the moment as it is in its arising. Well, breath is just as good as thought or sensation or sense door, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. But it says it is insufficient. Because if you don't recognize that which is knowing, looking, seeing, cognizing, maybe is a word, you're only getting part of the picture. And then you can get pretty locked up in the objects, which is understood to be world craving, material craving, and really only contributing to suffering. So then in the Dzogchen school, it says we better figure out a way to actually hold or know something beyond any object. Because if you're just hanging on to objects, boy, at the time of death, you're not going to be such a happy camper, because what are you going to hold now? And they describe the moment of death. Interesting, the bardos that we're looking at, remember, between and within each moment, forget about just death, as literally being like fainting, like a blackout, like a coma, like deep sleep. And then the Dzogchen say, how do you practice being awake there? Because without knowing that too, say the Dzogchen, you're going to get screwed, because you're going to fall into that guaranteed state. It's inevitable, unavoidable, deepest sleep. How do we know deep sleep then? How do we know? And then there's words like dream yoga. How do we lucidly dream? How do we activate mind? Well, we're not going to get that fancy today. We're just going to see if we can see the knower, or make, you couldn't see it probably, know the knowing, maybe is the best way to put it. And this is where we all get into weird problems, right? Because the concepts aren't sufficient, the words aren't enough. Everybody goes, what? I don't know what that means. So then we practice. And we practice in the same way. And we always begin with shamatha, which is breath awareness, simply to stabilize mind, center mind, pacify, or the word is unify mind, to get mind and object resting in each other a little bit. And then we're going to let the object go, because in the end, it's all going to go, right? No object, not going to be there to help you. And we're going to see if we can't just rest in awareness. That's the true bardo then, isn't it? Space within, between, around everything. And why? Well, because in the long run, in the transitions, we could say, one breath to the next, getting up, standing down, right? I'm noticing a lot of consciousness as I'm going from sitting to standing with an injury, a lot more than I used to pay attention to, which that just happened. I was not aware of that at all. I'm really clicking into, wow, standing and all that's required of standing, moving, all that's required in moving. This is where slowing serves us, right? We can see not only the steps, but the space in which the steps occur. That's Mother Luminosity. That which holds the open, vast space that holds everything. And then the Dzogchen tradition, the best in the bardos, say, and that's not enough either, because you need to bring that right here again, right back to this moment, right to the breath, the sensation, the dog, the itch, the pain, the restless mind. Because what good is it if you can't see something more clearly and know? Not this either, and resting in this. And without training, what do we know? We're just caught up in things, in ideas, in identities, in preferences, in meing and youing all day long, right? And we want to be free. That's why we're here, right? That's the whole point of the practice. And so I'm going to point to you once again. We've read these before, but I thought I'd just bring them up as a little bit of fun. Here's, of course, the picture of bubbles and movement in a stream. You can see that image, I hope, there. And mother-child luminosity is recognized as a bubble. Just one moment, in its quick appearance, but nothing to grab, nothing to hold, nothing to keep, right? Just to be known in its appearance and then in its dissolution. And we're watching all. So that's why often water, waves, ocean are used as common metaphor. But here's one of the versions of the sutra that we've looked at many times. This is from the Mahayana tradition. That's the one of the Bodhisattva. It says, so you should view this fleeting world. This is how you're going to look at it. A star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream. Regard all things. It didn't include this, like this. Oh, regard all things like this. What a beautiful instruction. Then you would love everything, wouldn't you? That's it. Right? So you should view this fleeting world, a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream. Here's another version. As a lamp, a cataract, a star in space, an illusion, a dewdrop, a bubble, a dream, a cloud, a flash of lightning, view all created things or conditioned things, form things like this. These are both from the Diamond Sutra, which is supposedly the best text on the realities of form and formlessness, impermanence itself. And then they go on to say, I wanted to read one more. Composed things are all objects of mind. That's interesting, isn't it? Not real, not fixed, not solid at all, except as you conceive it. Grip. Are all objects of mind that are conditioned to arise, exist, and for a while, and then disappear, according to the principle of dependent co-arising. That means nothing is made of its own, nothing is sustained on its own, and nothing passes on its own. It is all conditioned on what? Everything else. You hear me say this a lot, like you are here by virtue of all time and all space and all things. This is the appearance of you, right? Everybody laughs. Nope, there it is. Everything in life seems to follow this pattern. And although things look real, they are actually more like the things a magician conjures up. We can see and hear them clearly, but they are not really what they appear to be. That doesn't make sound not sound. It makes it not solid, not permanent, not fixed, and not yours. Not yours at all, right? But we go, I heard it, right? I heard that, mine. This is our tendency. Mother-child luminosity then is the recognition. It is the knowing. All objects, including this idea of me, a dewdrop, a lightning bolt, a butterfly, right? Poof, here and gone, right? And then the practice is, how do we rest in that ever birthing and dying, in that appearance and disappearance, like a wave in the ocean, right? This is our practice. Why then? What's the reason? Why? Why do we invest all these texts, volumes, throughout 2,600 plus years in these very teachings? Why? Because it will end suffering. Only one reason. Because then we smile and we go, what was it? I was grabbing the bubble. I was grabbing the bubble. And then we laugh. Well, there you go. Joko used to go, poop, like that. You're holding on to something, but it's not really there. It's not very real, except as your mind has conceived it and grabbed it and held it and made it fixed, permanent, and yours, right? And then this is how we suffer. I'll use my fun meniscus only because it's the example of the present moment. If I decide anything about this meniscus, other than it is doing what it is doing now, then what? I've got trouble. If I believe it can or should get better, I've got some trouble, don't I? Because nobody, I don't know. If I believe it's going to be horrible forever and I'm never going to walk again or get up those stairs again, well, that's horrible. That's just as much suffering as believing it should get better, is believing there's no possibilities for it to get better. And so we recognize that mind as a waste of ridiculous time, don't we? So then the work is here. The healing is here. The moment is here. How can I be with this in its arising and passing just right now? Well, guess what I notice when I drop in? It's not hurting most of the time. Actually, it just makes sitting and standing very difficult. It makes going upstairs a pain in the ass, right? This is not so fun. And, right? Who was I to imagine that this life would be lived without this truth? Who was I? I've gotten pretty far down the road without too much going on here. Who was I to imagine that I was going to get through this thing without some kind of inconvenience? Right? It's kind of funny, right? It shouldn't be this way. I'm pretty sure that, in fact, it is this way, as sure as I am that it may change. In what ways, I don't yet know. You don't either. But look at your own life in your own why isn't it something? Because that's the beginning of our delusion and our suffering. So let's practice with that this morning. So find a posture that is stable, invites a wakefulness, and that inner and outer mobility. And maybe start there. What embodies this inner and outer mobility? The truth of the preciousness of this human life accorded to you. Take that posture. And then we stabilize and still the body. The Buddha, for example, himself said, find a tree, go sit beneath it, cross the legs and be still. And then the additional instruction is place the mind. With this mind, we make the world. Place this mind on nothing that is graspable, keepable, making meable. And so we turn and incline the attention towards the breath. And I want you to commit yourself wholly for several moments. Just this one in-breath and just this one out-breath. Noticing the movement of the mind, not yet stable. And we smile in waking up to the movement. And with each awareness of movement, we simply smile and invite the mind back to the breath. Each breath like a dewdrop, a lightning bolt, a bubble in a stream. recognizing that there's nothing solid, nothing stable, nothing fixed, and nothing mine to hold on to. And we begin to rest in the reality of the appearance and the disappearance of the breath, the self, and all objects. Holding the same characteristics. Present moment as it is, just this one breath. And then we begin to notice that the breath arises and passes, and that yet the mind is bright. It is bright before the breath appears, it is bright during the breath's movements and change. It is bright in the transition, and it is bright and aware at the end, even when the breath has dissolved. Awareness itself. Cognizing not only the breath, the object, but the infinite space. And then mind can rest and, in fact, unify with that vast open space. Knowing beyond thinking the reality of all things. Mother luminosity is that ground, that luminous essence. the light that shines on things, even space. We are closest to knowing our true nature as we know this awareness, as we know this luminous essence. Not only the space, but the objects and both. The mother and child reunion, knowing the nature, the whole nature of all things, vast, open, infinite, and appearing and disappearing. Luminous space is understood to be luminous by virtue of awareness itself, the light of awareness. It is not dead. It is not static. It is not nothing. And so space and the object, mother and child, and we can know both. Timeless, not dependent on any object. Timeless, ageless, colorless, shapeless, imperturbable, unshakable, always available, birthless, and deathless. No clinging, no struggle, no resistance, nothing permanent. And then we see the mind is not limited to objects, it can rest back, awareness itself. We do not make awareness a thing. It is the spacious ground that holds all things. can take the shape of all things and is itself shapeless, knows all colors, the full range, the complete spectrum, and is itself colorless. It can know time, past, present, and future, and is timeless. Can know the marks of existence, and is itself birthless and deathless. Is still, but is not static. Knows all movement, but itself unmoved. Knows all sounds and is soundless. It is not yours and is in no way separate from you. The thing is mine or me is false, and nothing is separate. Nothing is not me. And we rest in the space that holds it all. Itself empty. Prajna Paramita, Rigpa, luminous essence, pure land, Buddha nature, Christ consciousness, infinite names, and is itself unnameable. The bardo of the present moment, the truth of all moments. Held in the knowing by no one. Complete freedom, ultimate liberation, when seen can never be unseen. Once known cannot be unknown. And then we simply rest and smile. Feeling only compassion for ourselves in our grip, in our hook, in our stuckness. Offering ourselves this complete awareness. And once again, free. This is the path to the end of suffering. And then we wonder, how do I get so stuck? Right? We get caught in the object. We get caught in the myth. We forget again and again because from the eye door or the ear door or the sense doors, it all looks so solid. And then we solidify around it, which is the definition of suffering. And then the liberation, the path to liberation, the path to freedom is right here, right in the middle of it, right in, as we are finding our way to the ultimate truth. And so this is that the reality of the luminosity of the bardo, so that we don't mistake it as dark right? This is why the practice today, we don't mistake it as empty, really empty of itself, but wholly spacious and available, and not some big, dark, black hole, which I think is where we run when we get afraid of letting go of the self. We get afraid that we are going into nothingness. And though it is relatively true, no one thing. I am not this meniscus. Libby is not this hair. We are, right? It's not true. And can be a part. We don't have to get rid of it either. When we recognize there's nothing to get rid of either. And that's why the language is so limited, isn't it? It's so ridiculous. We try to talk about this stuff. And the reason we practice, and the reason we're going to be practicing every day, starting September 11th for 30 days, and we don't yet have the sign up, but I will do that this week. I've been a little distracted by other important things. So I guess that's not quite distracted, is it? I want everyone to participate. 15 minutes of just resting from 7:15 to 7:30 every day from September 11th, which I think might be a Monday, a Sunday or Monday, can't remember. We'll be together until October 10th, when we go into retreat at Quest Haven. That retreat will include both silent, private, and then guided practice on Thursday, Friday, and half a Saturday. So lots of things. The t-shirts, if you haven't yet ordered one, Greg is here. I think Greg's on. Greg, I don't think the order has gone in quite yet, has it?
No, the order has not come in.
Okay. Not yet. So if you're considering a t-shirt, there is, let somebody know at the minimum, and you can Venmo. We'll get you set up it's $20, I believe, with 3 colors and I think about 3 or 4 sizes. If you didn't get it and you want one, this would be the time. I believe they're short sleeve this round. And we're going to be putting that order in very quickly, very soon. So let's get that to us. And I don't think there's anything imminent in August, Greg, except that we were talking about a shower of blessing dates that will go into the newsletter this week, which I think we've picked as the 21st. I did want people to start hearing a little bit about that. I'm going to check the date.
Yeah. Excuse me. Let me
23rd, maybe.
Okay, September.
We knew one. They were not going to be available, 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, and so the 12th of September is the date to get it in to carry, and then
that's for the St. Andrews.
Correct. And
this is the shower of blessings sign up that we're going to be offering.
Oh, that's a different one. I'm sorry. Yeah, the shower of blessings is the 16th, I believe.
Oh, it is the 16th.
Yeah, 16th of September.
I think we've got to get that right before I put that newsletter out, because I know one of those dates, and that we will give you a website, the Shower Blessings website, where we can sign up. I will check that date because I don't have it in my notes here. And Sangha, instead of meeting, is going to be going to the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church and donating the morning to serving our unsheltered friends. I'm very excited about that also.
Yeah.
And I will check that date because my brain's not all plugged into that.
Yeah, the 16th. So it's the same week that we're doing the St. Andrew's
Okay.
donation, but it's that Saturday, the end of the week.
Okay.
The other thing is that when you look at it, there really won't be anything available for people to sign up to help with the cooking or any of that, because that's all already assigned. So,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The churches have been doing this for a while, and they have their folks and their people and their method, which, by the way, is very efficient. And so they're not looking for extra help there because they've got it down to a thing. And so we can be helping serve, getting food to people and helping them get seated, stuff like that. But we will not be making the breakfast at all. That's already taken. But there's lots of other tasks. I will send out the link again within the next day or so on the newsletter so that everybody can begin to sign up, both for retreat, for donating money or food items on the 12th, and for getting started with our 30-day challenge. I just got a lot of links to get set up. I'm going to need a little help from my friend Tyler, my oldest techno wizard son, so that I can get that to happen. But that will be happening in the next day. This is why we need each other, right? Because left to one brain, I don't know, trouble there. Whoops, something just fell upstairs. That sounded like a lot of fun. I think I'm going to go help pick up whatever that was. That sounded like a big fall on our deck there. I hope everyone is safe and well from the storm. It was actually workable. I think most people did not come away harmed, which was lovely. We had one small pot fall, but really given everything, it worked out okay. The ground is, I heard there may be a second flowering instead of just one with these unexpected deep rains. We may actually get a whole second cycle of flowers on things. So you may notice even on your fruit trees that they start to flower when they didn't used to. This will be interesting. I don't know. I just heard that that's a possibility. So we'll see whether it includes fruits or whether it's simply the flowers. All right, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all. Greg will be here Thursday. Yay. And I will be here in the garden on Saturday. It's supposed to be an absolutely beautiful day. Who knows? But let's see. And if so, we hope you will join us. All right, everyone. Be well.